Afternoon, hope you're all well. Well, we've finally finished the last rib. It took several days to get all the ribs in, but it's looking far better now. There's a lot of cracked equipment still in the boat, so we'll have to clean it out in a minute. But some of them big ribs, like these big ones here, they got about 5 kilo of resin in them. That's a lot of glass you've got to lay. Every one of them ribs has got 5 layers of 450 gram mat. There's a hell of a lot of resin gone in each one. That's very time consuming. And you see we've got a fan in here to try and keep me and the gear cool. The weather the last few days has been so hot. I've been boiling and resin's been going off ever so quickly, and these ribs we've been doing in 3 parts. In the middle section, full width roll, and then do it and tapering it off, then doing the end section separately. Because you just couldn't lay it that much in one go with the resin. The resin would have gone off, and that'd have been like, oh bugger. The mat would have been all crusty and horrible, and resin had gone off, and certain creaks and certain paddles all sort of the quick time. If you look up this end of the boat, you can see a lot of ink. Well, the old chap, he changed his pen when he was cutting the mat fabrics. He was measuring them, marking them out to the right sizes. Obviously at that end you can hardly see any pen, but the pen will work. He's got some other pens, and his other pen obviously didn't like the styrene and the resin too much, so I sort of run a bit. But it's not all bad. You can see what you're doing. It's obviously on the edge of the glass where the pen is. You can see where you like 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, 4 layer. There's actually 5 layers. You can actually see your layers like around that rib there. You can see like your different layers in the mat, like a marker. Obviously when you get like a couple of layers on it, you can't see the inside ones, but you can see a fair amount of them. I'm up where I was gone. That's been bloody hard work in this heat, but we finally got there. Now we just got to start making the stringers. So obviously we've got to have a stainless lidded well run up the bow stern. So we've got to make the stringers this way to have these as sealed units, and then have the middle bit as an open well. We've got all the stainless because we used to have the old design had a well on it. Well, I am certainly glad I got this done. It took quite a few days to do this. It's a lot slower than you think, but then again, if you're doing one of these big ribs in a single section, there's 15 bits of glass on each rib. You couldn't lay the whole thing out in one go. The ribs are like 8 foot long. You just couldn't lay that much glass in one go before it went up, before the resin went off, went hard. But that's all looking good. There's old Henry Hoover. I've got to do one more little bit of rib there and there just to support that last edge, but I'll do that later date. We're now going to start marking out and putting the intermediates, the stringers in. So obviously the stringers have got to be in, well, each one of them ribs is 450mm apart, so we've got to do a bit of stringer every single rib. So that's 22 stringers I've got to do. I love it so much. Well, that's the old stainless checker plate out of the well of the boat. That's the 2 main sections, and there's another couple of bits there. That's all about 17.5, 18 inches wide, because the boat used to have a console towards the bow, but we decided to cut the console out, put the steering on the front bulkhead, so that gives a lot more deck space. You can see the old console was roughly where that fan is. They used to have a console coming up in the middle and a potting table going across, and that's the old edge of the potting table there. So the potting table come across and the console. So because we didn't do that much potting and mainly netting, we got rid of that and made the boat so much bigger, because that little bit gap at the front there, that was wasted space, or you could stick a few downs up it. But now the steering and helm, everything is on the front bulkhead. That's made a lot more room in the boat. That's basically giving you another 4 foot of deck space. Well, 4 foot in a lot to a little big boat, but to one of these little old boats, that's a huge difference. I don't know how well you can see them bits of string or twine running up and down the boat, but what we've done is at the stern of the boat we've clamped a bit of wood with G-clamps to one of the ribs, mark the centre, put 2 nails in and run strings all the way along the boat, and obviously done the same up the bow.
That's what's called a stringer.
Yeah, old man jokes, he love it. So now obviously put a pen mark on each one so we know where they've all got to go. Make it easy, doesn't it, in the long run, so we know exactly where all the stringers have got to go. Perfect line. Well, in theory that'll be a perfect line. As the old chap's boat, that might be a bit wonky in places. Suit him really, he's getting old and wonky as well.
Can we take this off there?
Yeah, take it away. Just looking at some of the old chaps' spirit levels. I think this one's knackered, didn't you? Obviously the oil or something's broke down in it, and the bubbles gone huge, so it's no good anymore. But then again, he just said there either 48 or 49 years old, so he doesn't really owe him much, does he? But he's got another one exactly the same. So 50-year-old spirit levels.
You could say the bubbles burst.
Terrible, terrible old man jokes. And burst is just elongated. Well, this make a bloody change. The old man's busy and I'm not. Well, I've been rubbing down and glassing all week, so now I'm on tea duty and he's measuring if all them stringers are going. I suppose making 1 cup of tea in 16 days isn't too hard, is it? But I've been busy and he's been watching me, so got to take turns, I suppose. Well, these strings are a lot easier describing. All you need to do, put a straight edge across the top, measure this side, measure that side, and same here. So you get the whole 4 depths, because obviously the hull is sloping like that, and then you want it about 4 or 5 mil lower than the glass bit. Obviously you're going to put 5 layers of glass over it. Then you got to mark it all the way around and cut it out. That one fit in there lovely. See, there's a slight angle on the bottom there. And as usual, I'm going to get a hacksaw blade, cut along the edges and round it off. So that one and that one are all nicely rounded. Exactly the same method as before. Use the hacksaw blade just to cut a little 45° off the edges, and then use a bit of foam. You see, look where I rubbed it, and just rub that along the edge. That soon rub it down. Really easy to work with. But you can see I've done 4 bits. Obviously, one edge, one edge, one edge, one edge. So it just wear itself down. Use the foam. That cut lovely and smooth. But the foam do stick to it. The dust stick to them quite badly. So just get the hoover out and suck all the dust off the foam that seems to stick to it with static. You want rid of that dust, so quick hoover, job's a good one.